In 2017, a music video dropped for the drill rap song titled Taquon Way. The music video, which featured young men brandishing pistols and wearing ski masks, was typical of the Chicago drill soundtrack. The video featured three notable members of Taquon World, a clique of Gangster Disciple and Black P. Stone members, who were paying homage to a deceased child by the name of Taquon Tyler. Years earlier, and over the course of just a weekend, 4 people passed away from gunshot wounds. Of the 4 murders, 1 stood out due to the victim's young age and the seeming senselessness of the incident. Taquon Tyler was a 13-year-old who was with his sisters at a house party in the 6200 block of South Rhodes Avenue. His case was sad as it was a mistaken identity shooting. It was revealed that Taquon had been visiting family in Chicago from downstate, having been living in East Moline, a much safer city far from the violence plaguing the city dubbed Chirac. Taquon's mother was familiar with the homicide situation taking place in her community, and wanted a better future for her young son. However, despite sending him far away from the city to the western Illinois border, nobody could have anticipated the way that this night would play out. Back in Chicago, Taquon had been eager to make it to a birthday party alongside his 2 sisters. As is the case with block parties, it would appear as though animosity and tension had been building in the hours leading up to the following fateful events. People tend to clash at these events, and when everything is winding down, the conflict tends to crank up. Taquon and some other people had been making their exit from the party when gunfire rang out. He had been gathered as part of a group, which often makes people easy targets for shooters who lack remorse or aim. Taquon's cousin would reveal that several men started shooting randomly into their group, unconcerned with who would be hit. Tragically, at least one of these bullets had struck a young Taquon in his chest as he had attempted to run away. When the screams and gun smoke cleared, Taquon was laying injured on the sidewalk, the bullet having lodged to the left of his right nipple. His mother held him in her arms before the ambulance arrived. Hours later, and Taquon Tyler was pronounced deceased at the University of Chicago's Medson's Cummer Children's Hospital. Described as being both loving and respectful, Taquon Tyler passed away well before his time. Despite his case being solved, the violence plaguing the community only continued, as bodies dropped one after another. Taquon's name was used by those who wanted to honor his memory, which is a common trend seen by Chicago gangs. Moving back to 2017, 3 Taquon Way members were now part of a music video, a video which was both bold and disrespectful toward members of rival Chicago-based gang sets. Terry Ty Mubarak Berry, better known as TB, was described as loving, caring and kind to those who knew him. However, a different side to him could be seen when he participated in the Taquon Way video. The song is hard-hitting, with TB starting his verse by dissing the opposition, adding a K to the end of each of the enemy gangs. TB dissed local Black Disciple gang sets like 600, Front Street, Savage Squad and O Block. As his verse continues, he goes on to pay tribute to deceased friends like Venzel Richardson, Carlton Archer, and Rashawn Shaw, all of which had died by gun violence, with 2 having been alleged victims of Black Disciple-affiliated shooters. TB's verse only becomes more disrespectful when he goes on to diss an O Block member, who had been left blind because of the actions of one of his fellow gang members. Adding further insult, TB then mocked another rival who had been shot whilst on his gang's block, hours after dissing his dead friend Venzel Richardson, known as Big V, on a Facebook post. The second rapper on the song was Sherrod Rhyme, better known as Poppy. Many believe that Poppy had a decent flow, and he had potential in the music game. Like with TB, Poppy continued dissing on his own verse. He shouted out the same shooter as TB, before going on to majorly diss the infamous gang known as O Block. Poppy dissed a deceased member called Chino, and then went on to diss another member called DQ.
Look at Poppy on that. Hey Poppy, we smoking your homie. Taquon.
We got Taquon, dirty ass, that classic guy.
We smoking they ass. I ain't gonna lie. They about 50 of they ass.
It's the end of white bite drink.
Hey, you think you a rapper now, shorty?
Yeah, y'all put my name and on video. Y'all name it.
As the final drill artist got on camera, the dissing only intensified. Malik Delphi, better known as Richie Jerk, began his verse. Richie Jerk dissed a dead 600 member called Jerome Anderson, known as Lil Boo. Back in 2015, Lil Boo had been walking down a sidewalk when a gold vehicle pulled up. Someone hopped out and started firing. Anderson died less than 2 hours later, with Richie Jerk mocking his death by referring to him as Tire Head, since his head was left by a car tire. Continuing on, Richie Jerk would give shout-outs to his currently incarcerated friends, and wrapped up the verse by bragging about the weaponry that his gang were working with. Overall, the song was classic Chicago drill, and was well received by fans of the music. However, the negative energy put out on the track was bound to be received badly by those beefing with Taquon World. All it would take was one event, and the upcoming rap careers and lives of the 3 men would be tarnished forever. A beloved member of O Block named James Johnson, aka T. Roy, was noticed in the territory claimed by Terry Berry. Many people have speculated that T. Roy was in search of TB, the man responsible for the song dissing many of T. Roy's deceased partners. He was armed, but given his feared reputation in the streets, this should come as no surprise. Whatever the theories surrounding why T. Roy was really out in the territory of a rival, what is known is that T. Roy ended up in a convenience store, talking to an associate. He wanted to charge his phone and buy some turkey bacon. CCTV footage captured him in the store with an associate, as two suspects, widely believed to have been TB and another man, DeAndre Wallace, aka Can't Get Right, showed up to the store. TB, the suspected shooter, was masked up and can be seen upping a revolver, hitting T. Roy in the chest. The shooter and his accomplice quickly flee, as T. Roy hits the ground. The video shows him spinning around on the floor in agony, and tossing his own pistol, likely in a last-ditch attempt to hide it from police. It is upsetting to witness such a bold display of violence, and it seems as though T. Roy wasn't expecting such a thing to occur in broad daylight, in a store with surveillance cameras. News spread about T. Roy's death, and this angered O Block considerably. Tributes were flying in from many Black Disciple rappers, notably the man who had spawned the drill genre, and who had done the right thing and left the city, Chief Keef. Obviously, retaliation was guaranteed, but TB didn't seem too concerned with the ramifications of his actions. Similarly, neither did other members of Taquon World or close affiliates FBG. As is the case with the internet, social media played a role in further adding fuel to the fire. Twitter was used to poke fun at the opposition, and nobody seemed to really perceive O Block as a threat that they were. Reputation is a double-edged sword, and although TB would gain clout and recognition for the crime, the slaying would have devastating consequences for everyone associated with Taquon World. FBG Duck would go on Instagram shortly after to poke fun at O Block and diss T. Roy. Given the situation, and his closeness to TB, it is clear to see why O Block wanted revenge.
Look for them on here going crazy. They so happy. It been funny as hell, because I know folks know proud. They got him out the way. I know.
I'm on live, G. Shut the up.
It's funny.
Before you even get it, it just came on. But still, this Instagram, it deleted instantly, G. It just came on. But damn, G, don't start. Damn, they on here talking about what you think about T. Roy getting popped. Damn, T. Roy got popped?
Why you think the cap so?
When did that happen?
Why you got to play a car garage?
When did T. Roy get popped?
Feeling out you ride the car.
Damn, somebody popped him. Is he dead?
Even though he appeared in the Taquon Way music video, Sherrod Rhyme was seemingly living two separate lives. He was earning money working at a candy store, a big no-no considering his connection to TB and dissing of the deceased. On a sunny afternoon, Rhyme, who had a solid reputation as being a helpful volunteer, was carrying groceries outside for a female customer, when the opposition struck. A car rolled up, with a masked shooter directly targeting the 18-year-old. Hit 4 times in the body, and once in the head, Rhyme died at the scene. The female customer was also struck but survived, and can be seen in bystander video lying traumatized on the ground nearby. The shocking event will likely remain with her forever. Like with T. Roy, tributes poured in for the young man. However, the cycle of disrespect and smoking on dead people continued, and blood was going to continue flowing in the streets. A month following this unsolved case, Jermaine Robinson, aka FBG Brick, a man who himself was beginning a rap career, was chilling outside on his block. Brick had himself been in the Taquon Way music video, and Terry Berry had been in his own music video titled Another One. Many people were outside when something insane happened, with the incident being captured on video surveillance, although this is unlikely to be released anytime soon. Given Brick's tweets the day prior, he was likely confident that nothing bad was awaiting him, being unconcerned about being targeted by his opposition. Robinson, and his friend Stanley Jacoby Mack, would be relaxing when a white Ford SUV with multiple people pulled up. An offender, armed with a 9mm semi-automatic pistol, got out and ambushed the pair. Stanley Jacoby Mack was struck multiple times, including at least one shot to his head. His body dropped to the ground immediately. Brick, knowing that his life was in danger, began running, trying his best to flee down a gangway, ultimately being caught up. He was hit several times, with his sibling relationship to FBG Duck probably playing a big role in why it was him that was targeted that day. It is important to mention that a rumor circulated surrounding Brick dropping the location of T. Roy. Just how accurate this is isn't certain, and if it played a role in his murder isn't 100% conclusive. Having lost 2 close friends, Terry Berry was likely paranoid given the recent murders of his friends. He was probably expecting retaliation for the murder of James Johnson back in February. A song titled Untouchable would be released, with TB freestyling over the instrumental beat. The song had a somber feel, and you could really sense the impending doom that TB must have been feeling. All around, it just goes to show how unfortunate the situation is in Chicago. Around this same time, it has been said that TB was attempting to seek mental health treatment because of the loss of both Poppy and Brick. Sadly, his negative actions had sealed his fate. Terry Berry was ambushed whilst sitting on a porch by 2 masked shooters, including one with a light complexion. Berry, who lived nearby in the same neighborhood, was hit many times, including receiving a couple headshots, 1 neck shot, and an arm shot. The shooters went so far as to reload their guns, before continuing to shoot. Terry Berry would be officially declared deceased at 1:23 p.m. To make matters crazier, another man would also be hit down the street from TB. Fortunately, he was only grazed by a bullet and survived. The death of TB closed a chapter for Taquon world. The news hit everyone hard, especially the final rapper on the Taquon Way track, Richie Jerk. Having to deal with the deaths of close friends back to back definitely had a damaging effect on the young man, who vented his pain on social media for the world to see. Sadly, as the years progressed and more people passed away due to gang violence, time was ticking away for Malik Delphi. Years after the deaths of TB and Poppy, a call reporting shots fired led police to a wild crime scene. Richie Jerk was found to have been shot in his chest, his car having crashed into a tree. Another man, Richie Jerk's passenger, had somehow survived. Richie Jerk wasn't as lucky, and he passed away from his injuries at the scene. It is now 2024, and little has changed in Chicago. A new generation is taking over the music industry, and old beefs are irrelevant now due to the fact that everyone is either dying or getting football numbers. The cycle of pain and destruction will never end, and it's understandable to see why young men keep going back and forth due to gang rivalries. However, it is always worth remembering that revenge only temporarily satisfies, and sooner or later, the energy that you put out will come right back to you. If most of the people in this video had a second chance at life, I'm sure that they would rather be elsewhere, away from the violence and misery. I'd recommend steering clear of the BS, and not believing the hype surrounding having a fearsome gangster reputation. Avoid the drama, and concentrate on making your money legitimately, creating the man that you always needed in the process. Rest in peace to everyone mentioned in this video.